It was a perfect Saturday morning, the kind where the sun feels like a promise of a good day. I was at the farmer's market, debating between two jars of local honey, when a piercing scream shattered the calm. "She's got a gun," a woman shrieked, as if my wife was holding up the fruit stand like a Wild West bandit. The market froze. People dropped their baskets, a kid wailed, and the kombucha guy dove behind his table. My wife, Sarah, stood calmly by a crate of strawberries, her holstered firearm legally secured on her hip, untouched, as natural to her as the jeans and blue tank top she wore. But to one self-proclaimed guardian in yoga pants and a glittery visor, Sarah was a national security threat. In seconds, a sunny morning spiraled into chaos, sparked by a woman wielding a plastic badge she probably ordered online, convinced she had the authority to arrest my wife for daring to shop while armed. This wasn't just a misunderstanding, was the opening shot in a neighborhood war that would expose one woman's dangerous obsession with power and turn our quiet community into a battleground of egos and fake credentials. Sarah and I were just trying to enjoy the market, a weekly ritual in our small Texas town where open carry is as legal as it gets. She's licensed, trained, and meticulous. Her firearm is an extension of her job as a tactical instructor for law enforcement. But to Diane Morrow, the woman now storming towards Sarah like a one-woman SWAT team, none of that mattered. "She's armed. This is a code red," Diane screamed, her voice carrying the kind of panic that makes crowds scatter. An elderly woman dropped her peaches, a vendor ducked behind a stack of zucchini. Sarah, unfazed, glanced up from the strawberries, then down at her holster, then at Diane, who was pointing a trembling finger like she was channeling a crime show detective. "You can't have that here. You're intimidating everyone," Diane bellowed. Sarah, calm as ever, replied, "Ma'am, I'm licensed to carry in this state. I'm not breaking any laws." That only fueled Diane's rage. She yanked a laminated ID from her oversized purse, flashing it like a federal badge. It read Community Safety Officer in Comic Sans, paired with a lanyard sporting a plastic star labeled Neighborhood Protection Squad. "You're under citizen's arrest," Diane declared, her voice shaking with self-righteous fury. "Get on the ground now." Sarah didn't budge. "You're not serious," she said, her tone more curious than confrontational. Diane nodded vigorously, pulling out a pair of neon green fuzzy handcuffs. "I'm authorized under Penal Code 837, violation of Civic Ordinance 12B, endangering public safety with a weapon." Sarah tilted her head. "That code doesn't exist," Diane snapped. "Yes, it does. I read it on a forum." I was walking back with a bag of tomatoes when I saw Diane trying to block Sarah's path, her tiny dog named Valor naturally yapping at her feet. "On your knees, or I'll escalate," Diane shouted, waving the handcuffs. A crowd had formed, some filming, others whispering. Sarah sighed, stepping back to create distance, not out of fear, but to de-escalate. Diane lunged anyway, tripped over her own sandal, and face-planted into a crate of bell peppers. The market erupted in gasps and stifled laughter as Diane scrambled up, bits of cilantro stuck in her visor. "You assaulted me," she screamed. "That was a tactical takedown. You're a felon." A nearby farmer intervened. "Lady, you tripped. Calm down." But Diane was beyond reason, turning her wrath on me. "And you? You're her accomplice. Did you supply that weapon? Are you running an arms ring?" I blinked. "We live 3 blocks away. We're buying vegetables." Diane whipped out her phone, narrating like she was streaming a hostage crisis. "This is Diane Morrow, Neighborhood Protection Squad. We have an armed suspect refusing detainment. Backup needed." She spun in circles, shouting into her phone as if the National Guard was on speed dial. Sarah crossed her arms. "Ma'am, call actual law enforcement. I'll show them my permit." Diane shrieked. "Don't tell me what to do. I've studied constitutional law for 4 months." 10 minutes later, a sheriff's cruiser pulled up. 2 deputies stepped out, and one, recognizing Sarah instantly, broke into a grin. "Sarah, what's going on?" She nodded. "Hey, Tom. Just trying to buy some berries." She'd trained Tom in crisis negotiation last month. Diane sprinted toward them, still filming. "Arrest her. She's armed and tried to kill me with a combat role." Tom raised a hand. "Ma'am, let's all talk calmly." Diane waved her fake badge. "I'm invoking public authority. She's a danger. Cuff her. The second deputy examined her badge, frowning. Where'd you get this? Diane beamed. I designed it for the Neighborhood Safety Task Force. The crowd snickered. Tom chuckled, shaking his head. Ma'am, impersonating law enforcement isn't legal. Diane exploded. You're protecting her because she's one of you. She's got tactical training and probably access to rocket launchers. Sarah deadpanned. Those are locked up 2 counties over, so you're safe. Diane gasped. You confessed. The deputies moved Diane aside, explaining the law while Sarah handed over her permit. I looked at her and muttered, all this for strawberries. She smirked. And maybe a pie? Now I'm on a watch list run by someone who thinks kale is a weapon. The crowd dispersed, but Diane's humiliation in front of the market wasn't the end. It was the spark for a crusade that would escalate into fake lawsuits, HOA conspiracies, and a courtroom showdown that had our town buzzing. The next day, our doorbell rang. Tucked into our porch planter was an envelope tied with a blue ribbon and an HOA seal, complete with a handwritten note. Notice of emergency hearing. Your threat to community safety. Sarah, drying dishes, read it aloud. Due to a public incident involving open carry and aggressive conduct, a meeting is scheduled to determine disciplinary action, including fines or suspension of HOA privileges. She raised an eyebrow. Aggressive conduct? That's either a burn or a rejection from a country club. The hearing was set for 6 p.m. the next day at the community clubhouse Diane's domain. We arrived early, hoping for sanity, but were greeted by a slideshow titled Sarah, a Menace Among Us. It featured blurry market footage, a freeze frame of Sarah reaching for apples edited to look like she was drawing her gun, and a photoshopped image of her with glowing yellow eyes. Diane, now sporting a wrist brace as if she'd survived a car crash, called the meeting to order like a wartime general. We're here to address a grave threat, she declared. Sarah Mercer carried a loaded firearm in front of children and pets, then violently assaulted me, your community safety officer. Sarah whispered to me. She threatened me with fuzzy handcuffs. Diane continued. I've suffered physical trauma, emotional distress, and tactical flashbacks. She used military-grade intimidation. A board member, Greg, interrupted. Diane, we can't penalize legal carry. We're not law enforcement. Diane waved him off. I propose an immediate bylaw banning open carry in community space parks, sidewalks, markets. Another member, Clara, chimed in. We can't override state law. Diane snapped. If we can ban tacky yard gnomes, we can ban guns. Sarah stood, her voice steady. I'm a licensed firearms instructor. I train police, sheriffs, even federal agents. I was shopping, not threatening. Diane confronted me with fake authority and imaginary laws. That's the real danger. The room went quiet. A few nodded. Diane hissed. You assaulted me. Sarah didn't flinch. You tripped trying to grab me. That's not assault, that's gravity. Diane tried playing her evidence, a shaky video of her screaming, code red, and falling into peppers. The crowd chuckled. One by one, residents spoke up. A vendor vouched for Sarah's calm. A mom praised her self-defense classes. Greg admitted, this feels like a personal grudge. Diane, red-faced, vowed to escalate to the mayor and a federal civic hotline. The board dismissed her bylaw proposal, and she stormed out, her dog barking furiously. I whispered to Sarah, she could have brought a flamethrower. She grinned. Next time. We thought it was over, but Diane was just warming up. She posted videos to the neighborhood watch group with titles like Armed Menace Terrorizes Market and Suburban Militia Rising. Comments ranged from mockery to confusion, one asking if Valor needed therapy. 3 days later, we received a civil complaint from the magistrate's office. Diane was suing Sarah for emotional distress, community endangerment, and weaponized aggression, demanding $20,000 and a public apology. The handwritten filing, in all caps, had chaos vibes scrawled in the margins. Sarah held the letter, smirking. She thinks this'll work. I asked, what's the plan? She grinned. We fight with facts and a little flair. Diane's antics escalated. She patrolled our street, filming herself whispering, they're watching. She chalked ban tactical tyranny on our sidewalk. Then, Sarah got a call from Deputy Tom, inviting her to lead a SWAT negotiation drill in the town's square, the same spot as Diane's market meltdown. Sarah's eyes gleamed. Poetic justice, she said, best served with precision. The drill was a high-stakes simulation with role players, mock hostages, and trainees from multiple agencies. Sarah ran it like a maestro, her commands calm and authoritative. Halfway through, I spotted Diane's visor bobbing outside the roped-off zone, filming and narrating. She's training a suburban army. This is a takeover. Sarah ignored her until Diane ducked under the tape, shouting, "Sarah Mercer, I demand you stop this paramilitary chaos." A SWAT officer blocked her. "Ma'am, this is a restricted zone." Diane ignored him, ranting about militarized zucchini and covert carrot ops. Sarah approached, her voice like steel. "Diane, you're trespassing on a police training site. Step back." Diane scoffed, stepping closer. "You can't bully me with your tactical boots. I don't recognize your authority." Sarah stood firm. "I'm not asking for recognition. I'm telling you to leave." Diane's face turned crimson. "You've weaponized groceries and brainwashed the police." The drill paused, trainees staring. Diane backed up, tripped over a training dummy, and landed in a pile of foam blocks, Valor yapping in panic. The crowd roared with laughter. Diane, covered in foam dust, stood and declared, "I'll file a federal complaint." A trainee muttered, "That's not a thing." She stormed off, humiliated again. An hour later, Diane's latest video, Suburban Siege, The Truth, hit the neighborhood group, splicing Sarah's drill with fake explosions and a red alert banner. It went viral for its absurdity, shared as unintentional comedy gold. At the next HOA meeting, Diane proposed banning Sarah from public events, claiming she was weaponizing public spaces. The room was packed, drawn by her viral fiasco. Greg shut her down. "Sarah trains our protectors. You're the one causing chaos." Residents defended Sarah's dad, praised her anti-bullying classes, a shop owner her safety workshops. Diane's motion was tabled, and she stormed out, tripping over her camo scarf. Sarah didn't stop. She launched Calm Under Fire workshops, teaching de-escalation and how to spot fake authority. They sold out in hours, even attracting HOA board members. Diane tried countering with her own Neighborhood Defense 101 in her garage, but only a confused teen and a lost improv student showed up. Her posts were flagged for misinformation. The final blow came at the HOA's quarterly meeting, where the board voted 9-0 to dissolve Diane's safety liaison role, invalidating her badge and ordering her flyers removed. Diane, in a full khaki uniform with a crisis response officer lanyard, gave a rambling speech about tactical decay and poolside conspiracies. Greg cut her off. "This isn't a sci-fi convention." Diane waved a USB of drone footage, actually kids' water balloon fight footage, before storming out, knocking over a coffee urn. No one helped. Outside, residents mobbed Sarah, asking about her next workshop. A teen thanked her for teaching his sister self-defense. Back home, under the porch light, I asked how she felt. "I didn't want to fight," she said. "I just wanted strawberries." I laughed. "Next time, Kevlar for the market?" She grinned, gesturing to thank you notes and seminar invites. "No need. I've got backup." Diane likely sat somewhere, scribbling manifestos, but Sarah had one, not with fire, but with calm, skill, and a community that saw through the chaos.